Antonette, thank you so much for joining us in the studio, and I'm particularly excited to have you in the studio because one of the facets that makes up Antonette is that you're part of the Workshop 17 team, and Workshop 17 is the partner with the Branson Centre in terms of putting together the studio that we find ourselves in, and I can't wait to unpack all of that, but it's such a pleasure to have you in the room as a special guest on this podcast. So hello.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for doing it with us, eh?
Absolutely. It's been fun and interesting and an adventure. And I think that's what partnerships are really about.
Absolutely.
And so, Antonette, tell us about who you are. I mean, I've mentioned a little bit about what you do in some parts of your day, but what's the full picture?
Oh, I think I'm going to show my age here.
Oh, you can. It's okay.
I finished high school in 94, and that was an auspicious year.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, even though I was accepted at university, I couldn't go because my mom died the same year.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. It became my stepping stone because immediately in 1995, new government came into being. But it also meant that I was the first non-white teller at an Afrikaans bank at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So life for me since then has always been being agile, dealing with whatever you've been handed, and running in that manner. When I joined Workshop 17, to be exact, it was 5 months before COVID. So needless to say, I come from a previous co-working environment where I was there for 11, 12 years and solid in my career. And I go in and make a change, and 5 months down the line, all hell breaks loose.
The world is different.
Yes. But in hindsight, I think it was the best place where I could have been. Because Workshop 17 actually makes provision for you to bring your individualism. You know, it wasn't an easy period because we literally faced people wanting to downgrade and all kinds of requests coming through. The one thing that Workshop 17 does is that it gave me an opportunity to sort of zone in on some of the skills where you negotiate differently. Things just stopped being copy-paste. I was able to go and have one-on-one conversations with some of the members. And the idea was, how many people can we retain so that they can stay afloat and so that Workshop 7 can stay afloat as well.
So it's mutually assured benefit instead of destruction.
Exactly. So I think that if I was in a different place, I probably would have been very frustrated. But it genuinely gave me that opportunity where you sit and you go, okay, what now? And the management is open to all kinds of crazy ideas that one could come up with. And we unpack it as a team and we go, okay, fine, what's the best way forward? So now we are opening another location, and I'm very excited about Newlands Cricket Ground, and as well as the other one that's coming for Johannesburg. So my role has become more regional in the sense where I give support to the guys in Johannesburg as well.
Right.
So it's been good.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And I think just to give context to anyone who's listening who may not be very familiar with this, so correct me because I'm about to maybe describe it. So Workshop 17 is South Africa's most recognized and most awarded and celebrated co-working space that shows up in different cities across the country, and hopefully we'll even be seeing it in more cities. Absolutely, I love that.
Absolutely. If it's up to me, we'll probably sign a lease tomorrow for Durban and maybe another one for PE.
Oh, please keep it moving. Keep it moving. And so for me, co-working spaces, interestingly enough, just because I'm in the job or the industry that I'm in, which is all about enabling entrepreneurs, co-working spaces still feel unfamiliar and new to a lot of people, or they feel like they're for a certain type of person. And so I'd be interested to find out your take on, let's start with just our understanding of the sharing economy, because I think once we start there, we can move into what co-working spaces do for that. And I'm hoping that will eventually land on the conversation around partnerships.
Yeah. Over the years, I think if one look at what was serviced space, because that's actually where it started. It was serviced space. Serviced space was when you take a floor, you subdivide it, and you then have different tenants in there. And things have evolved since then. So serviced space was just your space, brick and mortar. Whereas co-working adds the element of the community vibe. and the community feel comes with co-working, as well as the collaboration that comes with that. So it's no longer just about me sitting in an office that can accommodate X amount of people. It's actually who can I lean in and get support from. When it comes to the shared economy, Workshop 17 being part of the shared economy meant that not only do we share resources, it also meant, especially COVID, that we can then share liabilities and obligations. Because where other people needed to sort of make a decision as to whether or not I'm giving up this lease or not, within Workshop 17, they were then able to downgrade and look at different offerings. And because there was a mix of members, some of them were corporate, some of them were doing well. Some of their businesses were doing well because of COVID.
Yes.
Right? And then there were others that were not. So it was basically the one was carrying the other. So there was a bit of a symbiosis that happened as a result of co-working, as a result of COVID. So which meant that co-working was then amplified. There were other organizations that did way better in terms of marketing the co-working environment, and that would have been the likes of WeWork and those kind of people. But it is something that if I think about the first co-working office in Cape Town was opened in 1994.
Right.
So it's a concept that's always been there, but not everybody has been exposed to it. So it's often in my history is that you would find the young entrepreneur comes, and this is where I sort of started realizing that I am exactly where I needed to be. You'd find the young entrepreneur comes in, and he'll say, I need an office because I am about to sign a tender or I'm about to land a deal. Okay, so don't you want to wait until you first land the deal? You don't have to have... so one would sort of go, and this is where I sort of became passionate about it. Can I sit you down and just look at what exactly is it that you need immediate? You need some form of identity for this business. You do not need a lease. You do not need a 12-month or a 3-year liability smacked onto your newly established company. So going through those kind of sit-downs with young entrepreneurs, it also it gives you that sense of fulfillment in the sense whereby I'm trying to grow you, but at the same time, I want to make sure that you get what is due to you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's been a journey.
And I think what's interesting there is that you perhaps are also in a position to be the bridge between, the suits and the sneakers as we talk about it. So, whilst you're able to have a conversation with a growing business to figure out how you can enable them with what you have, there is also this incredible opportunity where you can bring in fresh thinking with some of your more established customers in terms of saying some of the young entrepreneurs or the emerging businesses are approaching some of their challenges in this way. Perhaps as an established business, you could think about it in this way, right?
Yeah. I've many a times gone to some of the members and go, listen, there's somebody in a similar industry and he really needs your guidance. Can you just, I don't expect lots of your time, just 30 minutes at a time. And most companies are open to it. Most individuals are open to even just coaching someone else to how to avoid certain pitfalls and stuff like that. So yes, there's different merit in bringing people from different, I want to say different stages within their journeys under one roof.
And knowing that because of this platform then of a co-working space, it's this incredible backwards and forwards of exchange and of sharing, as opposed to a one-way street of saying, you're small, listen to the big guy, and that's it. So I'm almost jealous of the position that you find yourself in, because I guess every day, whichever location you walk into, you're walking into the potential of exchange.
Absolutely. It's like not every day is the same day. You don't encounter the same people, and you definitely don't encounter the same challenges.
Absolutely. And so that then, for me, does land us on this idea then of partnership. I'm a partnerships person, very partnerships driven. And so it's always exciting when I meet somebody else who's interrogating this conversation from a different viewpoint. And so you taking it from this point of the shared economy, of the co-working space. And so in your opinion, what are the ingredients for a partnership to go from a potential to then something that's enabling?
I think sometimes when people go into partnerships, you'll find that one party might see big opportunity and the other one is almost hungry for opportunity. And one should always be mindful of when you enter into that partnership, what each party brings, and have open conversations. And I think it's also important to sort of evaluate down the line, because it is a journey. A partnership doesn't just come overnight. You first sort of check to see, are we in alignment? Do we share common purpose? What do I have to have the capacity? Do I have the resources before you get into the partnerships? I often say that both parties, sometimes more, they need to look at what can they bring to the party. And then also look at what were their objectives even before they went into the partnership. Because you've got to look at the objectives before you were going into the partnership, because the partnership is supposed to elevate, take you to the faster to whatever you were hoping to achieve, whether it's a case of cost saving, more efficiency, purpose, all of those kind of stuff. So look at what was your objective before I enter into this particular partnership. And then look at, okay, so this is what I would like to hope to achieve. This is what you would like to hope to achieve. Is there some form of alignment? And then during the course of that particular journey, check in with each other. Are we still on the same page? Are we still rowing in the same direction? So it's not something that you sort of just do and you abandon a day after. It is lifelong. And I think that if both parties are passionate about what they do, it should be something that's sustainable and sort of carry on forever.
Is it an art or a science?
It's a bit of both. It's definitely a bit of both, because you definitely need to bring your creative side sometimes. Because you can have curveballs coming your way. So you cannot say that it's just pure science. Pure science would be just looking at numbers.
Yeah.
And sometimes to make things happen, you have to be creative.
Absolutely, and that's what makes us human, right? Yeah. And so you've used my favorite word a few times in your previous answer. My favorite word is purpose. And so what is the purpose of Workshop 17, and what is Antonette's purpose?
Workshop 17's purpose is never to sort of overshadow any of their members. Workshop 7 is purely a catalyst. So we want to act as a catalyst to make sure that everybody else is able to do what they need to do. So whether it's a case of us getting into different partnerships for the benefit of the members and for the benefit of anybody else out there, it's a catalyst. We're just the vehicle. We are not here to look good on behalf. It's our members are the ones that are supposed to shine. Me as a person, when it comes to my purpose, for a long time I used to beat myself up and say, why haven't you started your business? You should start. And very often I stop. But then the realization that my purpose actually is, when I do encounter these young entrepreneurs, it is for me to impart the knowledge that I have, maybe plant seeds, give guidance, give some form of direction. So for me, my purpose ultimately is, I feel as if I do not do what I am now doing now, it would almost mean that the challenges that I have faced over years, they were in vain. So I feel as if you have to, almost you're obligated. And especially if you come from a background like mine. If you come from a background like mine, you've seen sort of the other side of things, or you've seen better, or you know different. If you then don't take that back to where you come from, then what were you existing for? Yeah.
And that's a good question for each of us to keep asking ourselves, what are you existing for? And so I'm going to land a little bit on even our partnership between the Branson Center and and Workshop 17, which is culminated in Studio 17. What was it about creating a studio, content creation studio, at this location in Cape Town that was important for Workshop 17, and what were the objectives?
Well, for starters, you were slugging equipment back and forth. So there was a case at some stage where I thought, there has to be a different way. Every time they come in here, lock, stock, and barrel, and set up. And we loved it, because it's most of your pictures and everything else showed the beautiful view of the facility which we had. But at the same time, we started getting loads of requests where people were saying, oh, does your room have X equipment? Do you guys have that? Do you do this? Now, because we are very much into, I want to say short stay use or transient use, and it comes back to shared economy, is that you use something. So it was almost a natural progression to go, okay, people have been booking the meeting room. People book an office. People book an event space. So why don't we add to this particular offering which we have? So the podcast studio was like, I think the first time when you also mentioned, I thought, we've tried this before. We've actually wanted this so badly. And I got very excited when you mentioned it. And I remember going to Paul and said, okay, Paul, it's here. we can do it now. We can definitely do this now. And I think from there, I do remember the day that I came in, I showed you this particular room. And I remember the look on your face and Wesley's face sort of going, really?
Well, it was still a bit of a construction site.
Really? Because at the time, I came and I showed you literally the darkest space which we had. But it's because I knew very little about podcasting, and all I knew is like, okay, you're always going to ask for darkness, and you're going to have lots of light. But me and my ignorance, I've sort of went, okay, I think this is the best space for what you're looking for, and we literally just think we got the plans for the side of the building during our expansion. So when I came here, okay, these guys are not impressed, and I don't have any other space.
It was our poker face.
No, there was no poker. But I'm glad. I'm very excited that it's all come together the way it has.
Yeah, no, and it's been wonderful seeing it come to life. And I think for us, it was about not creating a content studio for ourselves, but really plugging into the shared economy where, you know, with Workshop 17 as a partner, we were able to invest in the accessories and making it, one, look beautiful, but also have a fit-for-purpose studio.
Yeah.
And know that it exists on the platform and it is available then for the community in terms of Workshop 17's community and maybe potential members to come and book and create their content. And we love being able to see that be part of the story, that together as Workshop 17 and the Branson Centre, we were there to enable entrepreneurs to access a whole new world of how they create content and how they show up to the world. So thank you for being our partner in this journey.
Thank you for choosing us.
Yeah, and hopefully we can explore more crazy ideas and see what else we can do together.
You can come along to Newlands if you wish.
I was thinking of an island.
An island?
Yes.
Mauritius. We're opening 2 locations in Mauritius.
Okay, well, we do like an island. We do like some beach time. And so, you know, Antonette, I've really appreciated having this conversation where it's clear that your passion around enabling entrepreneurs, particularly growing and emerging entrepreneurs, comes from what you have in hand, which is, you know, your position at Workshop 17 and your clear understanding that in order to be enabled, it's not always what you think you need as an entrepreneur, but it's about what is necessary to your growth right now. So it feels like you could also be an incredible coach for some of us as we go along.
I've been pulled in that direction so many times, and it's something that I sort of go, okay, let's see where it goes. Let's see where you sort of go, because I get involved with NPOs and stuff like that. Even today, I sent a message. It's like, listen, there's somebody they're doing a session with 20 girls. Can we please find the notepads? Because you'll be surprised what people ask for. And I think also because I have been in the co-working and shared economy for such a long time, people also treat me like a walking directory. You definitely know somebody who knows somebody. Or you definitely have access to someone. So yes.
So you're a true connector, and I think connectors become some of the best people to talk to when it comes to thinking about partnerships.
I often say, pick my brain and you'll be surprised what's in there.
Perhaps we'll have another conversation where we just pick your brain.
Oh, it's going to have to be a long one then.
Okay, we can do that. And so, Antonette, as we wrap up, I'd be curious to do a quick fire round with you and see what is happening in your brain. So maybe I am picking the first layer of it, which is a shared economy means
that we share literally everything, the good and the bad.
Entrepreneurs who don't consider partnerships as a tactic are entrepreneurs who?
Setting themselves up to fail, because you cannot do this on your own.
Purpose-led partnerships mean?
It means that we dig deep within us. Find your heart. Because it's the brain that will do the numbers, but it's the heart that sort of keeps you going.
I shouldn't fear partnerships because?
They are human exactly the way I am, and they've got the same end goal.
Thank you so much for showing up as exactly as you are today. I've loved this conversation, and I will continue to have fun in the studio, and I can't wait to see who else has fun in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonette.
Okay.